If you are over 45 and you need coffee just to feel normal, this is not your age catching up with you. This is cellular energy failure. You wake up tired even after a full night in bed. You train, but your body does not respond the way it used to. Recovery takes longer. By mid-afternoon, your brain feels wrapped in fog. Your motivation fluctuates for no clear reason. You start questioning your discipline, your drive, even your identity. Listen carefully. This is not a character flaw. It is not laziness. And it is not inevitable decline. What you are feeling is a drop in cellular power production. The tiny structures inside your cells that generate energy are no longer being stimulated the way they once were. They are underperforming because your biology has adapted to comfort, not challenge. You have been told this is normal after 45. You have been told to accept slower metabolism, lower drive, and reduced resilience as part of the deal. That narrative is convenient, but it is incomplete. The real issue is not your willpower. It is not your calendar age. It is your mitochondria. And if that is the real problem, it means something powerful. It means this can change. The biggest lie about aging is that low energy is unavoidable. We confuse chronological aging with functional decline, as if the number of birthdays automatically dictates how your cells must behave. That assumption is scientifically lazy. Your passport age moves forward every year. Your biological performance does not have to collapse with it. After 40, what truly declines in most people is mitochondrial efficiency. The body produces fewer new mitochondria. Existing ones become less responsive. Insulin sensitivity often worsens. Inflammation rises quietly in the background. None of this happens because you crossed an arbitrary age line. It happens because the signals your body receives every day no longer demand strength. Sedentary metabolism accelerates this far more aggressively than time itself. Constant eating, minimal intensity, predictable routines, comfort layered upon comfort. Your cells interpret this as a reason to conserve, not to expand capacity. You are not aging too fast. You are signaling wrong. Your biology is adaptive. It listens. It responds to stress, to demand, to scarcity, to movement. When those inputs disappear, performance shrinks. Not out of malice, but out of efficiency. Your body does not fail randomly. It follows instructions. The question is whether you are giving it the right ones. And once you understand that, the entire conversation shifts from resignation to strategy. Let's talk about the invisible villain behind your fatigue. Inside nearly every cell in your body are mitochondria. They are not abstract concepts from a biology textbook. They are the power plants generating ATP, the molecular currency that drives muscle contraction, brain function, hormone production, and recovery. When ATP production drops, everything feels harder. After 40, several shifts tend to occur. Mitochondrial biogenesis slows down, meaning you create fewer new power units. Insulin resistance begins to creep in, reducing your metabolic flexibility. Key regulators like AMPK and PGC-1-alpha become less active, which directly limits your ability to build stronger cellular engines. Low-grade chronic inflammation quietly interferes with energy production at the cellular level. Translated into real life, this means you feel flat. Not sick. Not broken. Just diminished. Your body did not lose its potential. It lost the stimulus that once forced it to stay sharp. Imagine a factory that receives unlimited raw materials and faces no production deadlines. Over time, it downsizes. It cuts output. It becomes efficient at doing less. That is what your cells are doing in a comfort-saturated environment. Your fatigue is not proof that you are getting old. It is evidence that your mitochondria have adapted to low demand. The moment you increase the right demand, the equation changes. Now let's confront the strategy that is quietly making this worse. When energy drops, most people respond the same way. More coffee. More supplements. More quick fixes. They sleep less because they feel behind. They exercise, but keep the intensity comfortable. They snack constantly to avoid feeling depleted. It feels proactive. It is actually reinforcing the problem. Caffeine stimulates the nervous system, not mitochondrial renewal. Supplements can support physiology, but they cannot replace stimulus. Low-intensity movement without progression does not challenge your metabolic machinery. Constant eating keeps insulin elevated, which tells your cells there is no need to become efficient at accessing stored fuel. This is metabolic overprotection. You are shielding your body from the very signals that force adaptation. Excessive comfort suppresses AMPK activation. It reduces mitochondrial biogenesis. It weakens metabolic flexibility. Over time, your cells become excellent at surviving with less output and terrible at generating peak energy. Comfort constant creates cellular fragility. You think you are preserving energy. In reality, you are teaching your biology to lower its standards. If the problem is insufficient stimulus, then the solution is not more stimulation from the outside. It is smarter stress from within. And this is where the shift happens. Here is the turning point. The habit that changes the signal. Not another supplement. Not a motivational speech. A daily ritual of controlled metabolic stress. Call it a cellular signaling ritual. Your mitochondria respond to demand. When you deliberately create brief, intelligent stress, you activate AMPK. That enzyme acts like a fuel gauge and an emergency coordinator. It senses low energy and initiates repair. It stimulates PGC-1-alpha, the master regulator of mitochondrial biogenesis. That pathway tells your cells to build more power plants. Insulin sensitivity improves. Inflammation decreases. Energy production becomes more efficient. This is not theory. It is adaptive biology. Practically, this means structured metabolic challenges. A daily window of time without constant eating so your body is forced to access stored fuel. 20 to 40 minutes of Zone 2 cardiovascular training that pushes you just beyond comfort but below burnout, teaching your mitochondria to oxidize fat efficiently. Short, controlled cold exposure that forces a thermogenic response and enhances metabolic resilience. This is not about calories. It is not about punishment. It is about signaling. You are sending your cells a message that demand has increased. That survival requires strength. That output matters again. Do this consistently and your biology has no choice but to adapt upward. Now picture what happens when this signal is repeated for 6 to 12 weeks. Energy stops spiking and crashing. It stabilizes. You wake up with momentum instead of resistance. The afternoon fog fades because your brain has access to a more reliable fuel supply. You rely less on stimulants because your baseline output has increased. Your workouts begin to produce visible adaptation again. Recovery accelerates because mitochondrial density in muscle improves. Metabolic flexibility returns, allowing you to shift between fat and glucose without dramatic swings in mood or focus. Body composition adjusts not because you starved yourself, but because your cells became efficient. The most profound change is not aesthetic. It is functional vitality. You feel capable, decisive, physically present. You do not revert to who you were at 30. You surpass the version of yourself at 40 who believed decline had already started. This is what happens when biology is challenged with intelligence and consistency. And the next step is proving it to yourself in real time. This is where theory becomes proof. For the next 7 days, treat this as a controlled experiment. Not a life sentence. Not a dramatic overhaul. A focused signal to your cells. Establish a 14-hour daily eating window so your body experiences a predictable period without incoming fuel. This allows insulin to fall and forces metabolic switching. Each day, complete 30 minutes of Zone 2 cardiovascular training. You should be able to speak in short sentences, but not hold a relaxed conversation. This intensity is deliberate. It stresses the mitochondria without overwhelming the nervous system. Add 2 brief cold exposures during the week, even if it is just finishing a shower with 60 seconds of cold water. That acute stress amplifies the adaptive message. Remove constant snacking. Let mild hunger exist without panic. That sensation is a metabolic signal, not an emergency. Do not look for perfection. Look for feedback. Notice your morning clarity, your afternoon stability, your sleep depth. Do not believe the concept. Test the physiology. You are not trying to suffer. You are teaching your cells to rise to a higher standard. After 45, the rules change. You can interpret lower energy as proof that decline has begun, or you can see it as feedback that your biology is waiting for a stronger signal. One path leads to gradual contraction. The other leads to deliberate expansion. Energy is not a luxury. It is autonomy. It is the ability to think clearly under pressure, to train with intent, to engage fully with the people who matter. When mitochondrial function improves, life does not just feel easier. It feels wider. You now understand that your fatigue was not a moral failure. It was adaptive biology responding to insufficient demand. You have seen that intelligent stress activates renewal pathways, increases mitochondrial density, and restores metabolic flexibility. You have a 7-day framework to prove it in your own body. The choice is no longer abstract. It is operational. You can continue protecting yourself from discomfort and accept shrinking capacity. Or you can introduce controlled challenge and force your cells to upgrade. Aging is inevitable. Weakening is optional.